भगवद्गीते वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Krishna and Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, we have completed the 50th verse of the second chapter of the Gita. But before proceeding further, we have to know the background that starts from the 42nd, 47th sloka. It is a famous sloka, as I have told you. Karmanyevadhikaraste mapaleshu kadachana, etc. O Arjuna, you have right only for the work, and you do not have the right to claim for the results of the work. But you should not have longing or craving for the fruits of the work. It should not be the motive force for your work, and at the same time you should not be attached to non-performance of the work. You should not indulge in a kind of inaction. So there are 2-3 ideas. First of all, we have only right for the work. We don't have the right to claim the results. That is the first one. Karmanyevadhikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. In the same time, we should not crave for the karma phala. The reason being, the desires will take us to karma. Karma will lead to results, and the results will lead us to continuous birth and death. That is called samsara. So in order to avoid the samsara, the continuous birth and death, that is what is called in Vedanta samsara, or the avidya, the state of ignorance. We have to transcend that. We have to go beyond that. So we have to work for the sake of purity of mind. Sattva Shuddhi, it is called in Bhagavadgita. We will read in after some time. In the also, Mate Sangostu Akarmani. You should not get attached to a kind of inaction. Inaction is prohibited. Action is instructed. One should continue to do the work, but we should have the higher motive for the work. We have to do all the works as the dedication to the Lord, the worship of the Lord. And with that only motive, we should shun all kinds of petty desires, because the petty desires will make us to be born again and again. If our motive of work is only the desires, to fulfill those desires, we have to be born again and again. This is what the shloka number 47 says. Then what is the way out? How to do the work? Krishna says in verse number 48, Yogastaha kuru karmani. Establish yourself in the yoga. That is karma yoga. What is karma yoga? It will be instructed after 1 or 2 shlokas. Sangham tektva, don't have any kind of attachment towards the results of the work. And you should maintain equanimity, same-sightedness in both siddhi and asiddhi. There are 2 meanings to this siddhi and asiddhi. The normal general meaning is success and the failure. But Shankara says even when we fail to have a spiritual growth or spiritual advancement, we should not be worried too much. That spiritual advancement is called Siddhi, and failure to do so is asiddhi. We should take it as equal. We should not be too much worried about it. We should continue to do work as a spiritual practice. So that is Siddhya Siddhyoho Samo Bhutva, because Krishna says now he gives a very authentic definition of Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Or rather it can be applied to any yoga for that matter. Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Equanimity, maintaining peace of mind, same-sightedness, tranquility in all circumstances of life is what is called yoga. This is the essence of all the yogas, as you can see. If you practice the jnana yoga, you have to always discriminate what is good, what is bad, what is real and what is not real. The goal being to keep the mind concentrated, established in Brahman or the Atman, which is same in all. Their samatva is Brahman or Atma in the Jnana Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga also, we should practice incessant devotion to the Lord. We should love God and God alone. Through that love, we can have peace and tranquility. The God is the source of all power, all kind of blessedness. We enjoy blissful existence. Bliss is equal to tranquility and samatva there in the Bhakti Yoga. And in the Yoga of meditation, it's also the tranquility of the mind is the goal. There yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. The vrittis, the thoughts that lead us to restlessness and kind of misery, we have to control the thoughts, and we should try to have a single thought pointing towards the God and God alone, or the object of our meditation. That give us lasting peace and tranquility. This is the meaning of samatva in Raja Yoga or the yoga of meditation. But here the context is Karma Yoga. To do every work, whatever work is allotted to us, whatever work the God has given to us, in every circumstance, in every situation, maintaining ourselves in a peaceful, maintaining the peaceful condition, tranquil condition, unperturbed by the dvandvas, the dualities of the life, is what is called the yoga here. Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. And the shloka number 49 says, such working with tranquility of mind, that is called yoga buddhi here, that I have explained in the last week, that yoga buddhi is far, far superior than working with the desires. Rather, doing work with desires is far, far inferior than working with the knowledge, yoga buddhi, that everything is temporal. I am doing my work for only the sake of purity of mind. I am dedicating all my works for the sake of God and God alone. So this should be our attitude, and that kind of work it is, working is the mindset of, or the mental state of buddhi. That is why Karma Yoga is here said to be Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yogat Dhananjaya, ordinary karma is far, far inferior. Therefore, Krishna directly instructs us there are some instances in Bhagavadgita where Krishna directly instructs, direct instruction. That kind of direct instruction is called Upadesha in the Vedantic tradition. Suppose a logical proposition is given and you are asked to think over it, you are asked to contemplate on that, that kind of teaching is called Upapatti. So the teaching of the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta in general is done through three methods. One is the direct instruction, you have to do this, that is, or Brahman is like this, that is Upadesha. Some kind of a logic proposition, a logic is given and you have to think over that, contemplate over that and try to understand the truth through your own intellectual capacity, that is Upapatti. And the last one is when Upanishad asks you to contemplate or meditate on the mantra or some deity or some object, that is called Upasana. So here is an instance of direct instruction. What is that instruction? Buddhau sharanam anvichha. Take shelter under the buddhi. What is the buddhi? The samatva is the yoga. That buddhi, samatva buddhi. Shankaracharya says that samatva buddhi, seeing everything as equal and maintaining equanimity, is what is called samatva. Always practice that. Hold on to that. That is the meaning of samabuddhau sharanamanvecha. Suppose you are indulging in craving for results, you are very, very, very low man. That is, you are pitiable man. That is krupanaha phalahetavaha. One who is always hankering, craving, desiring for the results of work. I want this, I want this. He is to be pitied. He should be sympathized. He belongs to the lowest criteria of the doers of the work. The highest criteria belongs to those who work with only one mission, one goal, that I am dedicating all my actions to the God and I do every work with equanimity, samatva buddhi. The lowest one is always craving for the results, and such people are called here krupanaha, very pitiable people. Now we come to the shloka number 50th. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute tasmat yogaya yujyasva yogaha karmasu kaushalam. So it is possible for us to understand the significance of this mantra only with this background of 4 or 5 mantras. Otherwise it is not, it will be out of context and we will not be able to understand this in a proper way. Samatva buddhi yukta, that is what Krishna is emphasizing. You should do work with the samatva buddhi. You have to do the swadharma. These are two things Arjuna was asked to do as karma, as practice of karma yoga. First one is samatva buddhi. That is the mental attitude, mental state. Second is which kind of work I have to do? You have to do the work allotted to you. That is swadharma. So Arjuna as a Kshatriya, he has to fight the war. That is swadharma for him. So our swadharma may be different from Arjuna's. We have our own swadharma. So Krishna says later, so swadharma is designated to each and one according to his guna and karma. One's own mental ability or his quality and also the nature of the work when he is able to do. So each one man has its own guna and karma, and swadharma also differs from one person to another. The swadharma doesn't depend upon one's birth as a brahmana or vaishya. That brahmanatva, being a brahmana, is acquired through the austerity, meditation, and the scholarship. The brahmanatva, the quality of a brahmin, doesn't come by birth. Guna and karmas are very important. That is what is sadharma. So we have to do karma according to our capacity, our quality, our nature, and also the nature of the work. We are suited. So I am eligible for such and such work. So this is swadharma for me. I am eligible and I have to do. This is something allotted to me. That is swadharma for him. And how to do swadharma? I have to do every kind of karma with the samatva buddhi. So these are to emphasized. So then what kind of result one get? The result is prohibited. Of course, the ordinary type of result is prohibited, but one will get the higher type of result. The result which transcend the barriers of the dvandva, good and bad. One will be free from the sorrow. One will be completely liberate oneself from the transmigratory existence. That is what we find in the shloka number 50th. Buddhi yuktaha jahati iha ubhe sukruta dushkrute. So endowed with buddhi, samatva buddhi, equanimity, jahati, he gives up, he relinquishes. What he gives up? Both sukruta and dushkruta. Sukruta means good, dushkruta means bad. In ordinary words, punya and the papa, virtue and the vice. He gives up virtue as well as the good. The explanation to this you will find in Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga. Swamiji clearly says, both good and bad are fetters to the soul or Atman, they are bondages. Maybe the good is a golden rope or the bondage which is made up of the gold, and the bad is something made up of the iron. Both are bondages, both are fetters. So one has to break both good and bad and transcend it. We have to go beyond good and bad. The logical explanation is, if you do good work, you have to reap the results of the good works. That is why you have to be born again and again. So the good work also will lead us to samsara, and the bad work also will lead us to samsara. So when you do the bad work, you will accumulate what is called adharma. So adharma will lead to papa or the sin. So you will be punished for that. You have to undergo lot of difficult times, lot of difficulty. So both good and bad are fetters to the Atman. So Krishna is asking us to transcend both of them. The best explanation of this theory you will find in the Karma Yoga. So what is meant by transcending both good and bad? I don't work for good, I don't work for the bad also. That means I see both good and bad with the equanimity of mind. Good is as good as bad. Good is also I will relinquish, give up. Bad also I will relinquish. That is what is yoga. So, tasmat yogaya yujyasva. Therefore, the only way you have to work is for the sake of yoga. What is yoga? Already explained. Buddhi yoga. That is karma yoga with the equanimity of the samatva. Samatvam yoga uchyate, it is already explained. So, you work for the sake of the yoga. You strive for the sake of the yoga. All your efforts should be directed to transform every action into yoga. Samatva, that is the meaning. And the second definition of the yoga is given here, yogaha karmasu kaushalam. This is what is called the skillfulness in work. Skillfulness, we know about how to do work. Skills, we have to develop skill. So if you are a computer operator, you should know how to work in the computer. That is a skill. If you are an engineer, civil engineer, you should know how to build a building or a structure. That is a skill. These are all external skills. But the basic skill, the fundamental skill we should acquire is samatva. Keeping keeping the mind tranquil and cool at all the times. That samatva is the efficiency here. Samatva is the skill here. So there is no contradiction in both definitions. The first definition, samatvam yoga uchyate. The second definition, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Then what is kaushala here? Keeping the mind always in tranquil condition, samatva. That is the kaushala here. And Krishna once again emphasizing we had to transcend the barriers of good and bad and keep ourselves completely aloof from the craving for results. We should transcend it. We should go beyond that and continue to do the work for the sake of the Lord, for the sake of the God, so that our mind may get purified. So this is the meaning, buddhi yuktaha. The 51st shloka. Now, karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam tektva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gachanti anamayam. So those who are engaged in such work are called manishinaha. Manishinaha means wise people. So if you are following karma yoga, you are a wise person. If you are not following, you are an ordinary person. Manishinaha means those who are adepts in following a path of yoga. Manishinaha. What they do? Karmajam palam tektva. They just relinquish, they give up the results which comes out of the karma. The result of the karma is karmajam phalam. Tektva, giving up. Manishinaha. How they do it? Endowed with buddhi. Buddhi yuktaha. So once again, what is buddhi? Buddhi, I had to go back once again to the earlier shlokas. Buddhi is samatva buddhi. Buddhi is tranquility. Are two definitions you should remember always. What is yoga? What is karma yoga? Samatvam yoga uchyate or yogaha karmasu kaushalam. That kaushalam itself is the samatva. So endowed with such attitude in one's mind, and developing that state of mind of tranquility and equanimity, the wise men who are expert in karma yoga, they give up the phala, the results which is generated, which is the product of the karma. Karma, that which is produced out of the karma. We should understand every karma will lead to a kind of result. You cannot expect any karma to be without results. If we aspire for that result, ordinary result, very lowly result, then we are not karma yogins. Suppose we do some good actions, good result will come automatically. That is what karma theory is. The India in Hinduism, the speciality of Hinduism and Buddhism is karma theory. Every good action will lead to good result. Every bad action will lead to bad result. And punya will lead to good result. Papa will lead to bad result. That's all. But if we hanker for those results, we will not become spiritual. If we want to become spiritual, we have to give up those results. And our motive, our goal should be the highest goal. The highest goal is to reach God. Highest goal to know the one's own Atman, our own nature as Atman, pure knowledge, exists, jnana, ananta, satchidananda, sat, pure existence, knowledge and bliss. If that is the goal, then our work is transcended. Work will not transcend, work will be normal work. Our doing of work, attitude behind the work, our way of doing, our mental state while doing the work will be transcended. That is what is called here buddhi yuktaha. Then what the result? There is a result. There is if you do the yoga, you will get the highest result. What is that highest result? Janma bandha vinirmuktaha. You will be free from the bondage that is called the birth. Here Shankaracharya explains the birth itself is a bondage, because the birth is the cause of all the problems we come across in life. So the birth leads to death. Death is a misery. Death we think it as evil. The birth we don't take it as an evil. But accurately speaking, correctly speaking, birth is the cause of all the miseries. Therefore, the birth is also a bandhana, janma bandha vinurmuktaha. So they will be free from the birth, which is a bondage. And where they will go? They will go to anamayam padam gachanti. Anamaya means a state where there is free from all the miseries, all the suffering. And there is a praise in our tradition, Tadvishnoho Paramam Padam. It is the abode of the God, abode of the Lord Vishnu, Anamaya, absolutely suffering free, no misery at all, because we are one with God. God is free from all kinds of ordinary, mundane, empirical qualities. Suppose if we hold on to empirical qualities, good and bad, papa and punya, that is what is called misery. If we transcend that, we will reach that samatva state. Real samatva state is being one with God, or living in the presence of God, always thinking of God, always be in the consciousness of God, that is free from misery. That we can try to get actualized in this very life itself. Krishna says in the Gita, Ihaiva terjita sargaha. Even in this life, while we are living in this body, it is possible to attain that state. That state, this Manishinaha, the wise men, will attain. So this is 51. Then Krishna gives instruction to Arjuna. Yada te mohakalilam buddhihi vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. The 52nd sloka. So, yoganusthana. Yoganusthana means here the performance of the karma yoga. If we continuously engage ourselves in karma yoga, what will happen? Sattva shuddhi happen. I told you repeatedly, sattva means the mind, shuddhi means the purification. Our mind will be free from anger, hatred, desire, etc., etc. That is what is called the sattva shuddhi. When it will be attained? How it will be attained? Sattva shuddhi state. Krishna explains in this shloka, Yada te moha kalilam buddhi. Kalila means turbulent, perturbed. As you know, the water is very turbulent, we say. Water is flowing, very turbulent water. So our mind also is turbulent with various kinds of thoughts, very restless. So that kind of mind is due to moha, kind of delusion, ignorance. Out of delusion, we develop the restlessness of mind, the turbulence in the mind. That is what is called the moha kalilam. Moha kalilam buddhihi. Moha kalilam. Yada te moha kalilam buddhihi vyatitarishyati. Your buddhi is now moha kalila buddhi. So moha kalila means we are always anxious, we are in the stressful condition, we crave for the things of the world, again and again we demand, and we are always disappointed, we are dissatisfied. That is moha kalila buddhi. Mind is always perturbed due to the moha, delusion, the maya, ignorance. When you transcend that, vyatitarishyati, how you can transcend that? By following the patha karma yoga, which is explained earlier. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi, the earlier shloka itself has explained how to get over the state of ignorance. That is called vyatitarishyati. When you transcend that, then you will get tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. This is a very, very interesting aspect of Krishna's teachings. Krishna says here, don't waste your time in listening or reading to unnecessary discourses, of which will give nothing but you may get some entertainment, but it will be very disturbing to the mind. It will make your mind excited. You will get anger, you will get excited, you will get kind of gratification, but it will not do you any good. That is called here, that is condemned here. That kind of experiences, that kind of hearing, that kind of reading, studying such books, listening to such speeches or the conversations, and watching such videos, everything can be included here. What has already been done has caused an immense harm already. Already we have engaged in such activities has caused immense damage to our spiritual life. What has already been done is called Shrotavya. Shruta. You are already heard so much thing about the desires, how to fulfill the desires, do some yaga, yajna, that is all Shruta. And in the future also there are people who promise you wonderful things. In the earlier shlokas we have already read, it is like a flowery talk. So they promise you so many advertisements, so many means of pleasures, sources of excitement. All these are, we have already gone through them, they are called Shrutasya. And what we are going to do further, the whole life is spent in that way. That what we are going to experience, that we are going to hear, or that we are going to watch in the future, that is what is called Shrotavya. So what one has to do is to develop nirveda, detachment. We should not be attached to those experiences which we have already gone through, and we should not attach ourselves to those things which are really wasteful, which have no meaning at all, that we should avoid in the future also. This is the meaning of Shrotavyasya Shrutasya. So when that happens only when your perturbed mind, you will transcend it. Perturbed moha kalilam buddhi is transcended, and when you are established in the samatva yoga, then all kinds of empirical experiences which adds to your samsara, which will give you painful existence, and which will make you angry, which will make you crave for the pleasures again and again, continuously, and everything will be gone. Whatever already experienced, you will transcend it, and you will further in the future, you will not indulge in such wasteful activities. So this is the meaning of the shloka number 52. It has got a great message for us. We cannot hope for spiritual life if at the same time we indulge in ordinary kinds of pleasures. And as Swami Vivekananda says, Rama and Kama cannot go together. We have to develop the kind of detachment. Nirveda is actually renunciation, the tyaga. Sri Ramakrishna speaks of mental renunciation for the householders. A kind of tyaga is imperative for both sannyasins and the householders. We may be in the midst of all the worldly objects, but yet our affinity, our attachment should be towards God and God alone. So we should develop detachment towards those experiences which we have already gone through, and we should not indulge in such experiences. We should not crave for them in the future. This is the meaning of Shrotavya, means already has happened. Shrota means already has happened. Shrotavya means what is going to come. But this is not the literally meaning of the Shruta and the Shrotavya. Shruta means already heard. So in the olden days, they were very much happy to talk about the Swarga, the Lokas, prosperity, after death what will happen. And this is what is called Shravana. Shravana of the wonderful thing that will happen to them after the death. How to get them, how to be more happy, and all these things. So their whole life is spent on that. There is no time to think about the God or the higher things of life. So what has been heard, one should transcend. That is what Shrutatyacha. And what we are going to hear, what you are going to experience, that also you have to give up. So this is a lesson for every one of us, especially in the modern age when we are fully covered, fully enveloped with a kind of worldliness. And Sri Ramakrishna says, it is not necessary you should escape from the world. You cannot escape from the world. You are in the world, but you should not allow worldliness to enter into your mind. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example of boat. Boat is in the water, but water should not enter into the boat. So we be in the world because we should not be worldly people. That is the only thing. That is the message of this verse. Shruti vipratipanna te yada stasyati nischala samadhau achala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyati. So we should not be distracted by too many theories which will promise you worldly happiness and also success, victory, happiness, joyful life are all chimera. You cannot expect any kind of lasting happiness in this world. Krishna says beautifully in the Bhagavadgita itself, Anityam Asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvama. Very nature of this world is anitya, impermanent, as well as asukha. It doesn't have any trace of happiness. And the yoga philosophy says, Sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. Oh, those wise people who can discriminate and see from the right perspective, to them everything is full of misery. So if we go after these transient pleasures, which are nothing but the expressions of the misery itself, so we will be disappointed. So our goal should be not to get distracted by these empty talks, the flowery talks, the Krishna, which Krishna has spoken about in the beginning of this chapter. That is, pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitaha, etc. The flowery talk, the empty talk. That means shruti vipratipannaha. Your mind is very much distracted by various doctrines which will promise you more luxury, more happiness, more pleasure, etc. Your mind is distracted by that. Distracted by that, after you have learnt Gita, and Gita has taught you samatvam yoga uchyate, then what will happen? Your mind will become still. Nischala stathyati nischala samadhau. So you will overcome that state in due course. First of all, as ordinary person, your mind is very much distracted by various kinds of listening, various kinds of experience. I want more, I want more, I want more. You will be terribly disappointed. Then slowly you lean towards spiritual life and you learn Gita. Gita teaches you samatva yoga, karma yoga. Then what happens? Your mind will be established and your mind becomes still, nischala buddhi. Nischala means not moving, not wavering, very steady mind. It will be your intellect, your buddhi will become established in samadhi. Samadhau achala buddhihi. So first stage is disturbed mind, wavering mind. Next stage is nischala buddhi, that which has become steady mind, very steady. That is called here nischala buddhi. So we have to transform our mind from vipratipanna buddhi to nischala buddhi. Why our mind has become so much disturbed? By hearing and undergoing so many kinds of the worldly enjoyment, worldly experiences. So when mind becomes nischala, then mind becomes unmoving. It will not waver here and there, and it will get established. It will become one with the samadhi. What is samadhi here? Where the mind gets ultimate rest is called samadhi. That is the authentic definition given by Shankaracharya. Samadhiyate chittam asmin manaha iti samadhi. So where can mind get that ultimate rest without any kind of restlessness, no thoughts, nothing, full of bliss? Where you can find that state? That is in Atman and Atman alone. When mind is established in Atma, then you will have the complete rest condition, complete cessation of all the thoughts. That is what is called here nischala, achala, etc., etc. So the mind gets full rest, mind becomes standstill when you are established in the Atman, when the Atman in Samadhi, when mind becomes steady, firm in the Atman. Samadhau achala buddhihi. And that is the ultimate state of yoga. That is the real yoga. Tada yogam avapsyasi. You will attain the yoga. All along, I was striving for the goal. The striving sadhana is also yoga, and the ultimate result, ultimate goal I have attained now. My mind is completely steady, firm in the Atman. My mind has transcended the state of restlessness and it has become steady now. And that state is the yoga, real yoga. Yoga, the goal, and the yoga is the means. As aspirants of yoga, as sadhakas, what we are doing is also yoga. And we will become adepts in yoga in due course, like Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. Then we will become, sadhaka will become the siddha. That state of higher understanding, higher state of mind, where mind is totally merged into Atman, and Atman alone shines, that is the state of yoga. So you can get it, you can achieve it by karma yoga. That is very important. Often people misunderstand the karma yoga is something inferior. But Krishna himself says karma yoga is the path. Karma yoga, through karma yoga, the purity of mind, through the purity of mind, the knowledge, and through knowledge, one will get established in the Atma or the Brahman or the God. Now the question arises, is there any person who has achieved that state of mind? What are the qualities, what are the characteristics of such a person who has kept the mind steady, whose intellect is steady? So we come across the famous, we have now entering into a famous section called Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the qualities or the characteristics of the Sthita Prajna. So we should take some time to understand what is Sthita Prajna. Sthita means pratisthita, established, completely grounded. And according to Shankara, that buddhi or sthita means ahamasmi param brahma, I am the param brahma, I am one with God. So when I am in the state of sadhana, God is at a distance from me. I am trying to approach the God. Even in bhakti yoga, the ultimate state of bhakti is oneness with God. So the beloved and the lover and the beloved. Beloved is God. The lover is devotee. When lover feels oneness with God, and that is the ultimate state. Of course, in Jnana Yoga, that is the ultimate. No difference. I am he is me, he is me. That is the ultimate state. So, that wisdom stays in him always. Tita buddhi, tita prajna. That prajna, viveka prajna. What is good, what is bad, what is real, what is not real. He is immersed, his buddhi will never waver. We should go back to the second chapter once again, earlier section, Vyavasayatmika buddhi and Avyavasayatmika buddhi. One-pointedness, where your goal is one, your direction is one, you are striving for it. And that buddhi, when it reaches the final goal, it will remain in that state, unwavering, steady. That is what is called the Sthita Prajna. Prajna is Sthita. The wisdom one gets out of the sadhana, that is Brahma Prajna or Brahma Jnana or the Bhagavad Jnana, becomes steady. It will not go here and there. There will be no lapse. There will be no failure further. And that is what is called the Sthita Prajna. So Arjuna is asking, Arjuna has understood. What Krishna has instructed me is all the state of Tita Prajna. But he is very much interested in the characteristics of the Tita Prajna. How, what others speak about Tita Prajna and what Tita Prajna, how Tita Prajna behaves, what he talks, how he sits, and how he moves about, and all these things. And he is asking the question. For the second time in second chapter, Arjuna is speaking now instead of Krishna. Krishna is speaking all through and he is giving instruction. Now it is time for Arjuna to ask some question. What is the question? There is only one shloka of Arjuna. Arjuna uvacha stita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava titadhihi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. So you should not just come to the conclusion Tita Prajna is some novel idea is being presented at this juncture. No. The earlier shloka itself has already told. You see, samadhau achala buddhi, etc. Once buddhi, intellect is established in samadhi or atma, he is Tita Prajna. Already Tita Prajna Lakshana has been told. But Arjuna wants further clarification, further elucidation of that the state of the Tita Prajna. So he is asking, Kaha Bhasha? Which terms we should describe the Tita Prajna? Kaha Bhasha? So if I want to speak about Tita Prajna, how I can describe Tita Prajna? That is the meaning of Tita Prajnasya ka bhasha. Tita Prajnasya ka bhasha. And Tita Prajna, here he is described as Samadhihi tasya kesha. Samadhistasya. Samadhistasya Tita Prajnasya. Like that we have to understand. One who is always immersed in the Atman. Because in the earlier shloka, Samadhi is explained as Atman. So the same word has been repeated now. So here also, Samadhistasya means one who is always in the thought of God, always immersed in the Atman. And Samadhistasya Chita Prajnasya ka bhasha. So what is the description? How we can describe as ordinary people, how we can understand about the Stita Prajna who is always in the thought of God. And Stita Dhihi Kim Prabhasheta. So another synonym of Stita Prajna is Stita Dhihi. And what is Dhi? Dhi is nothing but Buddhi, which we have already know, about which we have already know. Buddhi is intellect or the state of mind. His mind is always steady. His intellect is always steady. What is meant by steady of the mind? It is always in Atman. It is always in God. Such a person is called the Stitadihi. So, Samadhistasya, Stitadihi, Tita Prajna, all one and the same. That we have to understand. It all directs to, it all indicates a single person who is in the Samadhi or who is in the Atman. So, Kim Prabhashetam. How he speaks, what he speaks, what kind of words he speaks. Kim Prabhasheta, Kimaseta, how he sits. And Vrajeta Kim, how he move, how did he move about. So these three questions are very peculiar questions. Krishna doesn't give a direct answer to these questions. We have to see a Stita Prajna, we have to observe a Stita Prajna to understand what he speaks, how he sits, and how he moves about, and all this. These are all very seems to be a simplistic question. But the Krishna's answer is more profound and more serious in this context. So there are three questions, actually it is four questions of Arjuna. What others speak about the Sita Prajna, and Sita Prajna himself, how he speaks, how he sits, and how he moves about. Titadihi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Then Krishna begins the description of the Tita Prajna. It is the last section of the Bhagavadgita, second chapter of the Bhagavadgita. We are fortunate we could cover so much in a short time. And the very first shloka is wonderful. Just you contemplate on that and try to imbibe that qualities in you. This will make our life really beautiful, blissful, and sublime. This is the greatness of Sita Prajna Lakshana. And why we should study the characteristic of Sita Prajna? That is very important to understand. And Krishna himself says, suppose I am doing a sadhana, what is my goal? My goal is to reach to that state, and I should know about that state. Suppose I am a footballer, my goal is to become a best footballer. So I have to imitate that footballer who is the best in that field. So the lakshana, the normal characteristics, the general characteristics of a great person should become the qualities of a person in the process, in the spiritual journey, has to practice. For the sadhaka, it is practice. For the siddha or the Sita Prajna, it are natural qualities in him. As Sri Ramakrishna says, you see a circle, in circus, a lady is moving about and all that, sitting on the horse. She is standing and making some bodily movements. She doesn't fall because she has practiced so much. Now she has become adept. Because for some years back she was practicing sadhaka. Now she has become adept. And also Sri Ramakrishna says, an expert dancer never commits mistakes. So an expert dancer, an expert musician also never commits mistakes. First they practice lot, hundreds of hours, years together they practice, and when they become expert, they will never commit mistake. So the Sthita Prajna is like an expert dancer, expert musician, and our state is we are just now practicing. We have to practice all through our life and attain that state of perfection. The perfected state is the state of Sthita Prajna. So we will just read the first shloka and we will commence this section, a very famous section, because Mahatma Gandhi was very fond of the Sthita Prajna section. He tried to practice these qualities in his life. That's why he became a great Mahatma. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyev atmana tushtaha tita prajnas tadochyate. Kaman yada prajahati. He gives up all the kamas. Where that kamas lie? In manas, mind. So mind is the crucible or the reservoir of all the desires. Manogatan sarvan kaman yaha prajahati. When all desires are abandoned, all the desires contained in the mind is abandoned, given up, rejected, then what is there for him to do? Suppose we reject all our desires, we give up all our desires, where our mind will stay? It will stay, it will dwell on the Atman itself. What is the source of sustenance, source of satisfaction for him? Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. There are two Atmas here. Atmana means by the Atman. Atmani eva means in the Atman. He becomes completely satisfied by the Atman. Where he will be satisfied? In the Atman. By the Atman and in the Atman he is completely satisfied. Tasya, his, the Tita Prajna, such a person, such a perfected soul is called Tita Prajna. Tita Prajna Tadochyate. We will try to understand this shloka next week. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishnarpanamastu.